Welcome to the We Wrote a Letter for Everyone podcast. This is first time we're just seeing how it goes. Bear with us. Maybe the journey will be worthwhile, maybe it won't. We'll see. But our topic this week is how some people are different, some people are the same. We're told that the brain is an analog computer. It runs it's a set of patterns over a map of different formations. Certain formations are activated more so when we're exposed to certain stimuli in the environment. So the brain forms like a pattern itself in terms of, if you could see a cross section of the brain and see what's actually most energized or less energized at a given time, it forms a pattern. And in the researchers, it's interesting because we learn in terms of patterns and probability, little calculated probabilities in our daily lives. This is how we learn best. So, the blind are leading the blind in this case. And with our old familiar friends and our old familiar music, we say, we could listen to this music every day for years and years and years and years. And it's not, Michael Bolton, When a Man Loves a Woman. It's more like Whitney Houston or something, But with me, it's more like Percy Sledge. It tears me up. But, you form a certain connection to something, and it feels familiar. It's a infantile security blanket, or it's a safety net against a cruel and indifferent world. We always say the devil you know is better than the devil you don't know, or it's better to be a servant in hell than it is it's better to be a king in hell than a servant in heaven. At some point, they tell us not to go outside of the box. And in the box, there's a certain safety, and in numbers, there's a certain safety. And the boy who cried wolf and the boy who cried on his podcast, but a certain sort of safety and familiarity that comes with anything, even drug addiction and alcoholism. That certain familiarity that the bottle is an old friend, the drugs are an old friend. And even if the old friend is criticizing your podcast ideas, you're familiar with that and you gravitate towards that no matter how. But these can form defeating patterns. And this leads to our next item, which is think about this. We say, what if people were like flavors of ice cream? And you had, these 2 or 3 that you really liked, and you're going to have those all the time. But you might think sometimes, you might see somebody different, at the ice cream bar, and you're saying, that ice cream sure looks good. I'd like to give that a try. You have to remember that with people, if people were like diamonds, we have those that we love to hate that are famous. It reminds you of diamonds, the way a diamond is flawed and it's valued. Your Miley Cyrus is worth more than, say, your Garrison Keillor in the grand scheme of things. Even though your Garrison Keillor was different and good and all that, Billy Ray, Miley's father, but you're a little different. You might be worth more. Such as the broken vase I was talking about in an earlier iteration of the podcast. The broken vase has ugly glue, but it's been returned to a whole state. That whole state is internal, but on the outside you're seeing something that looks a little different, and you might think, gee, that looks ugly because it's different, but we have a thing called neuroplasticity in which we can be exposed to different stimuli. And when we're exposed to different stimuli, our brains actually grow. They run faster. different parts of the brain are activated, and it can feel so good, like reading a good book, or just going to an art museum or something. And I know some people say, going to the art museum is a snooze, but if you really get into it, you're really in the mood for that sort of thing, or even seeing a good movie and following along with it sometimes. Not to have confirmation bias or something, but to break out of that box. We're told that when people are exposed to classical music, and a lot of times it's different classical music they've not heard before, but what some people say is good. They're exposed to this classical music, and for so many minutes after, their IQ is higher. It's all that concept of neuroplasticity, where if I take out part of your brain, the other part of your brain's gonna accommodate for the lack of that to a degree. The brain is capable and adaptable and so forth, and we are capable and adaptable, and we might want to try the okra pizza. And I had the idea for the okra pizza, and everybody said no, the okra pizza's not going to work. But we're in the Southland, and when you add soul food to something, it's like gold around here, except for that. And I'm thinking it's because I said it, and this way you don't like it. But no, they don't like it. If that Chef T boy, if he had said it, they go along with it. So he's familiar. He's familiar, yet different. He's familiar because he found the knack of being the one who brings something familiar that people enjoy. And that's what I'd like to do as a podcaster, bring you something familiar that you enjoy, something that you would value for being a little bit different, and it will make you think a little bit differently for a certain period of time.